Hey friends, welcome back to Simply Home and Harvest. I'm Jen, and today I'm going to take care of a couple of maintenance projects around the house, especially with our plants, getting a few weeds up, pulling a few of those stubborn onions that want to pop up late winter, early spring. And I just thought I would take you along. I really don't know what all this video is going to include. I'm out here working, might as well take you along. Cold, it's a little windy out here today, so I don't know how long I'll stay outside, but the first thing I wanted to do was maybe trim up some of these roses. Because they're already pretty green and growing, I don't want to cut any of that green part, but I am going to take off some of the dead parts of the roses. So these pieces right here that you can tell have died, I'm just going to get in and just clean them up a bit. And I don't have my gloves on. That probably would be a good idea when dealing with roses. So I may have to go get those gloves on so I can really get into this project. Okay, got my gloves. Now we can really get into our work. This is a double knockout rose. It's actually one that my granny planted when she was still living. And I'm not really a huge rose person. I mean, we have about 3 rose bushes here on our property, but it's not something I ever really like set out to grow, so I probably don't take care of them the way that I should, and I never prune them at the right time. So I don't know if what we're doing today is really going to help, but it will clean it up a bit. This is a double knockout rose. It's actually one that my granny planted when she was still living, and I'm not really a huge rose person. I mean, we have about 3 rose bushes here on our property, but it's not something I ever really like set out to grow, so I probably don't take care of them the way that I should, and I never prune them at the right time. So I don't know if what we're doing today is really going to help, but it will clean it up a bit. So I think that definitely looks a lot better. Gloves are a must-have, so you can really get in there and not hurt yourself. And like I said, we probably should have pruned this or cut it back earlier. It's definitely going to be huge, and hopefully it will bloom and produce this year, but next year I will try my best to do better. So we have so many of these little onions everywhere in our mulch bed, and our landscaper last year told me that the only way to really get rid of them is to pull them up from the root and make sure you get the bulb too, because if you snap them off and you don't get the bulb, they will multiply. So that's what I've really been trying to do, but it's really been tough to get the whole bulb out. I have to kind of sit and mess with them for a little while. So I'm going to try to do some of that project today. Might not get it all done, but at least we'll get a start on it. Did y'all see that? I'm pretty sure that was a snake. It looked like a little baby snake. So now I'm a little freaked out. I'm gonna push that down real good. Hopefully it was a lizard, but it did not move like a lizard. I really think that was a snake. Just wanted to show you our finished product for now. I will come back later and blow all the leaves out, but I got all those onions up. I probably should have taken a before picture so you could really see the difference, but some of those onions look like they were almost as tall as the tree we would pull in the driveway at night, and it was just an awful sight. So it looks so much better, but I hear that Tim and Alex are taking the chicks out for the first time outside, so let's go catch up with them and see what that's all about. All right, so this is their first time out. Hey girls. They're in that scruffy stage, I call it, where they're not the sweet cute little, well, they're still sweet cute little chicks, but they're not the little fuzzy chicks. They're getting their feathers in and they're not fully grown. They're just kind of in that awkward teenage stage, I guess we could say. We thought they were about 4 weeks old, but when we went online and compared them to pictures of other birds, of other chickens, it seems that they could be as much as 6 weeks old. So now we're not so sure, but you see they like to huddle together. We won't leave them out here too long because it's still a little bit too cool, I think, for them to be outside. And I think they're a little scared. They don't know what to think. So just a few minutes. Tim's got Chicoletta. She's like, oh, there she goes. You don't want to be on camera, huh? You don't want anybody to know that you're letting Tim hold you. So we are about, well, I say we, Tim's about to till this little middle strip in the garden, and then we're going to have some warm days coming up next week, and I'm going to probably get some things in the ground, but that's the plan right now. That's what he's going to work on. And oh, we got Julia now. Hey, Julia.
She's mad.
Is she? She doesn't like to be held.
Mad. She don't like
now,
to
Chicoletta will let you hold her, but Julia not so much. Oh, is this Rosemary?
Yeah.
Hey, Rosemary. I get Rosemary and Dolly. I get them mixed up a lot. And then the other, the new 5, we don't even have names for them. In fact, we just left them over there unattended. Who's watching the chicks?
Look at them. Good girl.
Yeah, we need to get them back inside. So back to Pruning Roses. This rose was planted about 3 years ago. It is a hybrid rose, and I think the official name is the John F. Kennedy rose. It blooms white roses. It's beautiful. Again, I should have probably pruned it at a different time, but we are where we are, so I'm just going to clean that up a bit. And then I'm just cleaning up the flower bed on the side. This is my most discouraging area this year because I have had beautiful tulips planted here for so many years, and this year a chipmunk, we think, actually got in and dug up all of those bulbs, and I did not have a single tulip come up. So that was kind of discouraging. Maybe next year I'll plant some more, but I think I'm going to focus on perennials. I might add in some annuals in there as well, but I do have some plans for that flower bed. And that's pretty much all I'm going to have time for today as far as some yard maintenance. I thought I would go ahead and show you our dinner one night this week. I made pinto beans in the crock pot, and I've had that ham bone in the freezer, and so it was time to put that to use. Plus we had some dry beans. So overnight I soaked way too many beans. I think I was supposed to soak 2.5 cups. This is more like 5 or 6 cups. I just didn't measure it out. I thought it was a good amount, but way too much. And I'm just going to add that ham bone. I went ahead and rinsed the beans. I'm going to add the ham bone to the center there. And we're getting ready to fill this pot to maximum capacity. The next step is to add some jarred minced garlic, or you don't have to add the jarred. You can add some fresh minced garlic as well, but this is just to give our beans some flavor. I'm also going to add some seasoning to this. I think I'm using an herb seasoning here. Just sprinkle that right on top. And then the next thing you want to do is to cover your beans with water. Because our pot is so full of beans already, I was afraid that the 8 cups of water that my recipe called for was going to spill over, but we did manage to get all 8 cups of water. I've also used like a chicken stock before with the beans, so if you want to use that or do a half and half, that will work as well. Now we're going to cook our beans on low for 8 hours. Our beans look great. They cooked up perfectly. That ham bone just cooked down into the beans and the flavor was amazing. But all that liquid needs to be soaked up by something. And here in the South, we love having some cornbread with our pinto beans. That is definitely a staple. So I'm just making a simple cornbread recipe, and I'm using a self-rising yellow cornmeal. And to that, I'm just adding 1 1/4 cup of milk. Now you can use whole milk. I think I'm using a 2% here. I'm also adding 1 large egg that we will beat lightly. And then also 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. I'm going to get all of that mixed together. This is such a simple recipe. Really, it doesn't get much easier than this. I think that this cornbread just complemented our pinto beans perfectly. But if you wanted a sweeter cornbread, you could add some honey. I've done that before. You could add corn to your cornbread. That gives it some depth and some texture. Also, you could add some peppers if you want a spicy cornbread. Really, you can just do a lot with this simple mix, but for tonight, we're going to leave it like it is. Now we're going to bake this in our oven, which I have an 8x8 dish that I actually went ahead and preheated in the oven to get it hot, but my oven has been preheated to 400 degrees, and I'm going to bake our cornbread for about 30 minutes, somewhere between 25 and 30 minutes. Now tonight I've decided to use my 8x8 casserole dish, but I have baked this in our cast iron skillet before. Just grease your skillet a little bit before you put it in there. I've also turned these into corn muffins, so you could put your mix into a muffin tin. So just think outside the box and do what works for you and for your people. That is some delicious cornbread right there. I decided tonight to finally open a jar of squash relish that was gifted to me by a friend. This is something that I don't think I've ever tried before, and I thought it would be a good complement to our pinto beans and cornbread, and it was. That squash relish had a little bit of a kick to it, which I liked, because sometimes I'll actually put like slaw or something in with my pinto beans, but that squash relish just took it over the top. Well guys, I'm going to leave you here. I hope you enjoyed today's video, just a look at some of what we're doing to get things ready for spring and summer. And also, I had really been wanting to use that ham bone, so I'm glad we got these pinto beans made. Got a couple of quarts left that we can use for a later meal, maybe have leftovers. I don't know, we might end up eating the rest of it this week. And that cornbread was so good. And the squash relish, 2 thumbs up. I think I will definitely add that to my list of things to make if we have an abundance of squash this year, because that was really good. I don't recall ever trying squash relish, so thank you for the person that gifted that to me, and it was really good. So until next time, friends, I hope you'll remember to live simply, use what you have, and enjoy the moments you've been given. I will see you in the next one.